had a discussion with somebody about that already this week. And he's very, very vociferous about it, and we both got our dander up a little bit while we were talking. And he wanted me to have a public debate with him this next weekend at an event. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do a public debate with you, because you and I mean, you're running right over the top of me, and it's hard for me to think when you're doing that. And that's not the way for people to learn the truth. You make your case in writing, we make our case in writing, the legislators read it without passion. They know the truth when they see it, and they make a choice. It isn't about us having a debate and yelling. I said, I mean, for one thing, folks, I hated the presidential debate when Mitt Romney and Obama got up and walked around each other like this and looked at each other like this, like they were going to have a fist fight, like they were pairing off for the boxing ring, You remember that? What a piece of drama set up for America, set up on the news so they could act this way. It was an act. The debate, I said, the debate with you, he was telling me, this fellow, nice guy, but he was telling me, there was a constitutional convention in the 18th century, right after the constitutional convention that gave us the Constitution. There was a new constitutional convention, and it gave us the Bill of Rights. And I said, that's not true. And he says, yes, it is. That's true. Just look it up in your Constitution. I pulled my Constitution out and I said, yeah, show me here. Show me where that is, because it's not true. And he says, well, look, in 1791, they ratified the Bill of Rights. And I said, yeah, they ratified it. It was ratified through the states. It was sent out to the states. The legislatures or in conventions, they ratified the Bill of Rights. So that doesn't mean there was a convention, an Article 5 constitutional convention. Oh, yes, there was. And he was sure of it. And I said, well, this is one of the reasons I don't want to debate you, because you're coming to me with facts that aren't facts. What is it you always say? It's not what you know.
This is by the cowboy from Oklahoma. What was his name?
Will.
He said he would say, ignorance isn't our problem. It's what we know. That ain't so.
Anyway, I told him, what you know ain't so. This never happened. Both the states submitted lists of amendments that they wanted, and the Congress went through those amendments and boiled them down to 12 and sent them out to the states, and the states ratified 10, and that became the Bill of Rights. And so that's what happened. Oh, no, that isn't what happened. But this morning I got up and I had an email from him, and it says, when we don't get our history right is when we get in trouble. And then he had a Wikipedia link, and I opened it up, and it
Wikipedia.
I had told him exactly what I'd said to him happened, how it happened. So he was kind of apologizing to me that he had that wrong. And I wrote back to him and I said, look, I'm not trying to rub your nose in it, but I want you to know that what you said to me last night, that you asserted so strongly to me, was not true, was it? Your Wikipedia quote shows that. It wasn't true. And the assertions that I was making to you were true. But how good would that have been for us to argue about that and be mad in front of other people? I just don't see that would help anybody know anything. So, but anyway, okay, so we're known for stopping the Concon for the last 30 years. We're known for that. So people will say to you, but the John Birch Society never does anything because we don't elect candidates. That's something else we're known for. We're nonpartisan. The John Birch Society has members who are Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independent American Party, American Independent Party members, Constitution Party. We've got all kinds of different political parties within our ranks. But what our members share in common is a belief in the Constitution as the supreme law of the land. They share in common a knowledge that there are those who have conspired together to bring us under the subjugation of a global government under the United Nations. That it didn't happen by accident, that it was planned, and that our books, like the United Nations Exposed, shows how it was planned, Who planned it? What's the purpose of it? How are they operating? What are their strategies and tactics? And one of the main organizations that was a combination of power elites to bring about the United Nations and build world government is the Council on Foreign Relations. We've got a book right here on that called The Shadows of Power, the Council on Foreign Relations and the American Decline. So that's something else we're known for. We're known for our publishing. We have publishing companies that publish books. We have publishing companies that publish magazines. So we're known for our publishing. And that our books are accurate. And that our bibliographies let you go back and research why we say what we say, why we assert what we assert. Now, I read this book in 1988, and I still keep this book as a constant companion, as a reference book. I've read it 3 or 4 more times since then. I've probably sold 500 copies of this book because I wish every American would read it. I wish every history teacher in America would read it because they see behind the news. They know what's really happening in America and who's doing it and why. Why are we being pushed into global governmental, supranational governmental institutions like NATO? What did our founding fathers warn us against? Being part of entangling alliances. And yet we joined the United Nations. It entangled us with 190 nations. We joined NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization that is a child of the United Nations. Under the United Nations Charter, it's a regional arrangement of the United Nations. We joined that, and we let our soldiers fight for NATO. In Bosnia, our soldiers have been there for the last 30 years, probably. Well, since, maybe 1988 anyway. So we're fighting for NATO. We fought for CETO, the Southeast Asia Treaty Organization. That was our Vietnam War, Southeast Asia Treaty Organization. That is a regional arrangement of the United Nations. Now it's defunct now, it's out of operation. But at the time, back in the 60s and 70s, when I was looking for my draft number to come up, when my friends were all going to Vietnam, that's who we were fighting under, the authority of was the Southeast Asian Treaty Organization. So we're known for our publishing. I think, too, we're known for what motivates us. What motivates the John Birch Society members. And the chief thing that motivates us is to keep a free country and to protect our independence as a country and to pass that liberty on to the next generation. But we're also known for wanting to defeat this conspiratorial drive for world government. We're known for that. We're known for our love of freedom, for our love of the Constitution, and for the principles in the Declaration of Independence that we espouse. The John Birch Society long reminds Americans that we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, so we remind Americans that our rights are God-given, that our birthright comes from God. It is not an endowment by government. These are not, help me out with the word. They're not revocable permissions, but that's not the word I'm looking for.
Inalienable?
Well, they are inalienable, but they're rights rather than...
Not privileges.
No, rather than privileges, thank you.
Okay.
They're rights, they're not privileges. They're not privileges that government somehow endowed us with. They are rights that come with us when we're born because we are human beings with a Father in heaven that endowed us with that freedom. And the Founding Fathers knew it, and they put that thunderous assertion in the Declaration of Independence to tell the King of England, our rights don't come from you. They're ours. And you don't have any authority to violate our rights, because if you do, that's usurpation and tyranny, and you no longer have the right to call us your subjects. And in the next sentence it says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted by men deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So the John Birch Society is known for promoting the idea that the whole purpose, the sole purpose, the proper role of government is to defend our God-given rights. That's what it's for. It's not there to redistribute the wealth. It's not there to provide employment. It's not there to provide retirement. It's not there to provide health care. It's not there to make unrighteous war upon other nations to build a UN empire. That's not the purpose of our government. Our government has an assigned purpose to protect our rights. So we're known for that. Most of all,